Hey, Brandy. Good to see ya.
Likewise, welcome back to another episode. Super exciting. I see we're wearing our AFCPE t-shirts today.
Always some of our faves.
Yes, indeed. You're wearing my favorite.
Yeah, for those who are only listening and not watching, mine says where purpose meets passion.
Yes, and mine says connect, empower, impact. I don't even remember how long I've had this one, but it's always a good time to have on one of my AFC t-shirts, especially when we're doing this podcast. And Rachel, we've probably been talking a little bit too much about us. They don't want to hear what we're wearing. They want to hear about our guest. So let me cut right to his introduction. Dedrick Curtis is a veteran, military spouse, AFC, CFP, and he serves in two distinct roles across financial wellness space. He is a program manager for the Veterans Benefits Banking Program at Zyders Enterprises, where he oversees nationwide counseling services supporting veterans, beneficiaries, caregivers, and military families. He is also the founder of Penny Earn Financial, an advice-only virtual financial planning firm focused primarily on military members, veterans, and the LGBTQ plus community. Dedrick's career spans financial counseling, federal program management, military financial education, GI Bill administration, and private financial planning. He's particularly interested in the intersection between behavioral finance, financial stress, and the real world systems people have to navigate during major life transitions. Here's a fun fact about Dedrick. He has attended every Meal Money Con event to date. He's an avid traveler and hiker, and he's a perpetual sign reader. This cracks me up. So museum trips literally take all day because he has to read every sign. Welcome to the show, Dedrick.
Thanks, ladies. Really appreciate it. Glad to be here.
When I see perpetual sign reader, I think perpetual learner. So you're just curious and you're interested in learning more.
I like it. I like it. I'm just really, really fortunate that I found my mate, Nicole, who is also a perpetual sign reader. So we're great together at those
Oh.
places. We're just not usually good with other people because they're tired of
I love it. Well, Dedrick, you wear many hats in your career. You have a private practice, but you also work at Ciders, where you are the program manager for the Veterans Benefits Banking Program. We call it VBBP. So, for our listeners, for short, I don't know that that's easier to say, but that's what we are calling it. But I'm curious for the people at home who don't know what that is, it's a really impactful program. And I'd love for you to share just a little bit about what the program does.
So the VBBP is a fantastic program. Number one, it's completely free for veterans and their families, including caregivers and surviving spouses, regardless of someone's service, their discharge status, any of that. So it's as wide open as humanly possible. It has three pillars to it. Pillar one is the banking piece of it. So if someone is unbanked or maybe underbanked, they're just not happy with their banking situation, there is a database that they can search on their own and find military friendly banks and credit unions that have agreed to sign the rules of VBBP, essentially meaning that they are going to charge no or very low fees, and they're going to accept that veteran or family member regardless of their past relationships with other banking institutions, which is sometimes a barrier for folks. Part two is education. So self managed on demand training modules where someone can go online, create an account, and tap into all the different education models we have around personal finance. They can do it at their own pace. They can go through all of them. They can just cherry pick the ones that they really want. No barriers there, no limits on that either. And the third piece, which is where I'm mostly involved, is financial counseling. So again, that same group of people, veterans, families, caregivers, surviving spouses, can access completely free, no cost, unbiased financial counseling from a team of AFCs. It's virtual, so they can work with them via phone or video chat, depending on their preference. And they get up to 3 sessions with that counselor as part of the program.
Yeah, it's such a phenomenal program. And I'm curious, you're kind of on the front lines of a lot of these conversations as you work with the counselors that are working with veterans. What are some of the issues that are facing veterans right now?
Great question. And it really spans the full gamut. I would say the majority of folks that come our way are either in crisis right now or they're going to be in crisis really soon. So, as we all know, the bread and butter of an AFC tends to be budget, credit, and debt, and that's definitely what we see with our clients and prospective clients as well. But sometimes it's on the extreme side of that. So it's not uncommon that someone will come to us and they are, at the very end of their let's say patience with their housing situation, and they're facing eviction or even home loss if they own a home. So we've had folks who are living in their car currently. We have folks who, are couch surfing with friends. So housing is a big issue, and that kind of seems to be a bit cyclical. Otherwise, it's a lot of debt, from a few $1,000s in debt, and that's still stressful for them because it's all relative. To literally, we've had folks with over $1 million in combined debt, and we're not just talking homes. We're talking business debt. We're talking personal debt. So they really don't know where to turn or how to deal with those issues. And of course, on the other end of the spectrum, we do have folks that come to us who are looking to better their life. They're doing okay as far as they can tell, but they want to make sure they're doing the best they can. So they want to learn a little bit more about how to invest, how to save for a retirement, how to save for that purchase they want, whether that's a new car, home, whatever the case may be as well.
So, given the work that you're doing with veterans and their families, Dedrick, we all know most of our audience, they listen, they're financial professionals themselves. So we know that a lot of financial problems are not mathematical. It's not the math. And you've already, and I read in your intro that you are interested in this space with behavioral finance, financial stress, and the systems that people have to navigate. And we know that our veterans navigate a lot of transition. How do you see the emotional and behavioral factors influencing the financial decisions that veterans and their families make?
It's almost everything.
Hmm.
A lot of us use that quote, "Personal finance is more personal than finance," and I use that all the time. Whether someone calls to meet with me on my planning side, or someone calls in to VBBP to learn more about the program. So it's really everything. And in fact, I would say in this program particularly, we're doing far less math related solving of problems than we are behavior. And folks, they kind of get that when they're coming in. They realize that, let's say they've overspent over the years and gotten into some debt, whether that's on their own or circumstances, and it goes both ways. But they realize it didn't happen overnight. So it's not going to get solved overnight. And they know that they're going to have to put in a lot of hard work. If they don't realize that when they meet with us, we make sure we spend that first session really making sure they understand that for session 2 and 3. It's really about building skills, sometimes building confidence, and definitely building a tougher mentality and more financial resiliency around what life has thrown their way and where they want to go. And how do we meet those up?
Dedrick, you are a financial counselor. You're also a financial planner. I'm guessing in many instances you wear both hats simultaneously. But for consumers out there, I think sometimes the differentiation of those is hard to navigate and understand. Um, Tell us a little bit about how you think of the continuum of the field: counseling, coaching, planning.
Yeah, that's a great question, and I get this a lot. Well, I get it on both kind of hats that I wear. Folks will call in to VBBP, and when they call or email, I'm the one that picks up the phone or emails them back. So it's a great opportunity for me to educate more of the public on what an AFC is in financial counseling coaching versus what financial planning or advising is. Because we do get
Hmm.
folks who call in that line or email the program, and they really, after kind of explaining what they want, they really do need an advisor or a planner. And then again, on the private practice side, I seem to, and I attribute this to the fact that I'm also an AFC, and I put it out there in the universe. Hey, I do the spectrum from counseling, coaching, all the way through planning. So I tend to get a lot of folks who are in the counseling needed or coaching needed space now, but they also, in a relatively short time frame, they'll be in that planning space, right? So I'll use that opportunity to kind of walk them through. All right, here's what it seems like you need now. Here's how a counselor coach can help with that. Here's what you'll need if you don't need it now. Here's what you'll need in the future. And here's kind of how a planner or advisor can help with that. So I see everyone on earth. who earns money or gets money in some way on that spectrum of counseling, coaching to planning, advising. And it just really depends on where they're at on that spectrum. So some folks are closer to that planning side. And it really doesn't seem to matter how much income you make or what your net worth is. I've had it all over the place. I've had folks with no money at all who really had the skills. They were just working on getting the income and they were really a planning client at that point. At the same time, I've had folks with millions who absolutely needed counseling and coaching now before we can even really get into the strategies for planning. So it really does depend. The way I try to explain to folks who have never worked with a financial professional, which is the majority of folks that I talk with, is skills and behavior is really where the counselor coach is going to shine. More complex strategies around finances, particularly if you have a lot more going on, an intersection of different domains of financial planning, is where an advisor or a planner is really going to come into play. And to me, any financial professional is going to have some level of skill in the coaching side of things, even if they don't have an AFC. But I've seen it really not be the case. I've had other planners kind of refer clients to me who were good planning clients. They just weren't ready for their services yet, and they either weren't comfortable or weren't qualified to do some of that counseling and coaching with those clients to do planning with them later. And I'm happy to take those clients because that seems to be kind of my sweet spot of the clients that I have is their counseling and coaching needs now and later on.
I think it's a good reminder that your financial journey is not always linear. It's not like you graduate from one and you move on to the next. There are things that happen throughout your financial life. And I think that's why, you know, for people like you that kind of wear both hats and do both, to just making sure we have really strong referral networks to be able to
Mhm.
support people all the way through that life cycle and not they don't get lost along the way.
100% agree.
I'm glad you said that, Rachel, because as I was listening to Dedrick, thinking about he's an individual kind of wearing all of these multiple hats. And then you talked about how planners will often refer clients to you who could benefit more from the coaching counseling space. Kind of thinking outside of just you as an individual, what opportunities are there for coaches, counselors, and planners, advisors to work together more collaboratively so that it benefits the client?
I love that. And that's something I'm really interested in kind of growing more. It all comes down to awareness and education. Just like we do our
Mm.
very best to educate the public on an AFC versus a CFP versus any other designation or non-designations and those different roles. I think it's really important for us as AFCs, particularly since we're a smaller group, to do our best to educate other financial professionals out there. So let's say the CFPs, so the planners of the world, most of them have no idea what an AFC is unless they've had an encounter with one. they
Mhm.
they they can see an AFC as competition for the same clients. So the thing that I like
Mm.
to explain to other CFPs and planner advisor professionals is we're not really competing here. There's enough to go around and then some. And what I try to do is just set up a scenario with them like, hey, have you ever dot dot dot, right? Have you ever had a client that came to you that was really not ready for the services you provide? And you either took them on and realized, you know what I do is not really what they need. And you didn't know where to send them, or you knew immediately in that prospect call that, hey, this is going to be a lot more budgeting, credit, debt, a lot of that skill building, which is honestly very time consuming, right? You're going to meet with that person a lot more often than the average advisor or planner usually meets with their clients. What do you do with those folks? And a lot of times they have no idea because everybody else they know does what they do. I'm like, oh, well, I've got a great solution for it. It's the AFC. Here's how you go and find an AFC on the website. So what I've started to see more lately, like say in the last year or two, and I love it, and I hope it grows, is firms practices that are starting to hire and incorporate AFCs to do that coaching counseling piece because they realize, hey, these clients need help. And again, they can get to the point based on whatever else they have going on financially where they would need planning. They're just not there yet. And you can imagine from a client perspective, if you take me on as a client and you help me build these skills and get, say, from square -2 to square 1 or 2, and now I'm ready for planning, you bet I'm going to stay with you because you've taken care of me. We have a relationship, even if it's with someone else on your team. And now I'm ready for the planner. What I love about that is something you mentioned earlier, Rachel, which is it's not linear, right? So just because you've learned skills and now you're ready for a planner, right? And graduated, let's say, doesn't mean that that's where you're always going to stay because life comes at you. Life does things to you that you've not had before. So you might have to learn a new skill, deal with a new setback that planning is still not, really set up for you, but counseling coaching is. So I've seen a lot more firms do that where they will bring on other professionals, including AFCs and coaches, and I absolutely love that because they're able to more holistically serve their clients. And I want to see more of that out there in the field, and particularly on the private side.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. And it is exciting. And I think over the last couple of years, you're right, we're starting to see some of that movement. I think it's the understanding of like the holistic relationship that you have with a client. And whether if you're a planner or a financial counselor, it is a lot about building that relationship and that trust. And for a client who's coming in or a individual family, that's coming in for the first time, there's a lot of stress that comes along with financial counseling or planning. You're kind of being very vulnerable, whether you're in a crisis
Mhm.
moment or just opening up your finances to someone new. I'm curious, what would you say to financial professionals? How do you simplify that experience for the client while still delivering something meaningful and effective?
Yeah, that's a really good question because oftentimes I think folks are coming to us no matter what kind of designation you have or what role you're filling in the industry, and they're overwhelmed with their situation. And what I've found, and talking with lots of other folks too, it seems like the experience is pretty similar. Someone comes in, even for that very first meeting, and you're listening to them. That's a big check in someone's brain. It releases certain brain chemicals that is gonna create some ease there. And then by the end of that first meeting, just helping them organize their finances a little bit and giving them a little bit of homework to do between that session and the next session. It's amazing to me how much relief is visibly that comes over the clients at that point. Nothing's happened yet, right? Nothing has literally changed in their financial life from when they walked in the door, but mentally they've got a little bit of a road to follow now. They don't have the full map yet. That takes time. You can't give them the whole map in the first session, but they at least see a sign that says destination this way. And before they didn't even know what plane they were on, right? So that alone, that organization, I think helps simplify what they have going on in their head with the emotions and the stress and everything like that. So just helping them organize is absolutely number one. Number two is letting them know this is not just you, right? You feel like no one else is going through this or has ever gone through this. Let me tell you, as a professional who does this all the time, you are you are one of many. And that's not necessarily good, but it makes them feel better because, there's safety in numbers a little bit, even if it's imaginary and you don't know those people. So I think that those two things alone, if you do nothing else in that first encounter, whether that's a full on session or even just a prospect meeting, letting them know it's okay. Whatever they've done or whatever situation they're in, they can always come back from it. One. And two, there are tangible steps that they can follow. And we're going to go through those steps. I'm going to teach you how to do this so you're never alone.
Dedrick, I love when you said, "Show them the sign. This is the way to go." It just really is on brand for you and your love of reading signs. So thank you for sharing that. As I was sitting there listening to you, it did make me think about you have a unique audience that you serve, particularly with military veterans and their families. And as you're thinking about the stress that they experience day in and day out and what they're feeling, kind of dovetailing onto what Rachel's initial question was, how do you bring your skills as a financial counselor and financial planner to that unique space? Because they often have different benefit structures, relocation challenges. How do you navigate that world as an AFC and a CFP?
It's not always easy. I'm fortunate in the experiences I've had and the education that I've obtained over the years to try to my best to do that. But but I'm always finding new ways, things that I missed, and I'll go back to a client like, oh, I just read this thing. Let's explore that too. There is so much to know and to keep up on changes in finance in general, right? We all know that. And
Mhm.
then you take that another level, any kind of sub niche or audience or constituency that you serve, there's usually going to be things that you have to stay up on top of within that. Military is huge, right? There are so many people that serve in the military between active duty, guard, and reserve. Then you have all their families that are impacted by those benefits. And all of those things change seemingly constantly. I mean, literally from year to year, something that we've had for a long time. You have it down in your head and you can talk through someone about it in your sleep. All of a sudden now it changes. And it might seem like a little change in the article you read, but you can see that and be like, oh, that's going to have a big ripple effect on anybody moving forward. And so, what I have found to try to make sure that I'm providing the best service that I can, whether I'm helping someone on the counseling side or on the planning side, is try to stay up on everything that I can, try to stay knowledgeable. My secret to that is, well, number one, there's a ton of resources out there, both officially from the government and then in groups that work with veterans and military. My secret weapon has been the Military Financial Advisors Association, which I know you guys know. That is a fantastic group of veterans currently serving Guard and Reserve and military spouses. So to be in that group, you have to have firsthand experience with the military. You can't come in like from the outside and just learn stuff. And that group is so active. It is so supportive. And we talk to each other all the time. We have a Slack channel and we're constantly posting things, dissecting it, having discussions about it. It's a lot to keep up with by itself. That's what I try to do is just, again, continually learning. You have to stay on top of that so that you're providing the best service to that client. And again, whether they're on the kind of the counseling end of things right now or on the planning end of things.
Dedrick, you talked a little bit about what financial professionals can do to kind of keep up with all of the complexities and changing, not only in personal finance, but in the military community specifically. But having worked in a variety of different areas and continuing to throughout your career, what do you believe the financial services industry still needs to better support veterans, caregivers, military families in building long term financial confidence?
Whew, that's a question
A
right there.
doozy.
I think that like any other subgroup that you're working with or want to work with, know your limits, right? So if you know you have a lot of experience in education with a particular topic, population, whatever the case may be, by all means be confident in that, continue to learn, network with as many people as you can and serve those folks. I have a problem with a provider who has no military experience, is not tied to the military, and they feel like, oh, I can apply all the knowledge that I have about every other topic to this population. Because to me, misinformation is way worse than lack of information. And particularly when our industry is 100% based on trust. If you break the trust of someone, whether it's intentional or inadvertent, because you have an ego or because you thought you knew, you will not only destroy that relationship, you can potentially help someone make a really bad financial mistake. Once they find that out, not only are they gone from you, but it makes us all look bad no matter what role you play in personal finance. And to me, that um, that kind of thing, just because you didn't take the time to learn or you thought you knew, is so detrimental to everyone that does this work, who's out there doing really good things for people, trying to help them in their lives. So I would say know what your limits are, know what you can do and what you can't, and no one's going to be upset with you, including your client, if you're like, hey, I don't know that, let me find out, or let me get you to someone. Even if they kind of pitch in and we do a team thing, that's totally fine. Your client is going to respect that. They're going to stay with you, I promise. If you're afraid of losing them because you don't know every answer, you got to get over that.
Really good advice. So, Dedrick, one of the things Rachel and I like to do is ask our audience to kind of give their 2 cents. These would be comments or thoughts that you like to share with the audience. We are kind of gathering an imaginary piggy bank, if you will, of all of the best content. And so, if you were to think about what would you like to leave with our audience, what would be your 2 cents?
Given I know the majority of the folks who listen to this podcast or watch it are either financial professionals, AFCs, or looking to get into this space. I think my 2 cents would be, if you love helping people, do this, right? Become an AFC, volunteer, get in the personal finance space, because there's no shortage of the need. We know that. Everyone deals with money, no matter who you are, how old you are, what continent you live on. And everyone, because everyone deals with money, everyone needs help with money. In my opinion, every single human on planet Earth would benefit from working with a financial professional at least one time, even if it's just one session and it's kind of a summary kind of thing, if not multiple sessions or a long-term relationship. So if you're listening to this and you're not in personal finance, you like helping people, don't let the finance part trip you up, right? You can learn that. What you can't learn is, you can't learn empathy, at least not very well in my experience, and you can't learn the desire to help other people. And if you have that, you can do this. And I say go for it.
Oh my gosh, as an AFC, I'm just like hearting all of the things that you are saying. Yes and yes. Thank you, Dedrick.
Oh, Dedrick, thank you so much for coming on today and talking to us a little bit about the work you do and so many good tidbits for our listeners to take away. For those who aren't connected with you, where would someone connect with you?
Sure. Yeah. Thanks for having me. I've had a great time. So to connect with me, with a unique name like Dedrick Curtis, I'm pretty easy to find. So if you go on LinkedIn or really into the socials, you're going to find me. Otherwise,
Fair.
on my planning side, it's penny earnedfinancial.com. So penny earnedfinancial.com is my planning website. But yeah, if you have questions, if you want to learn more about what I do or how I got into it, or my path in more detail, I'd say LinkedIn is probably the best way to reach out to me. Just send me a message.
Sounds good. Thanks again, Dedrick.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys.
Rachel, this was such a great chat. As I'm sitting here listening to Dedrick, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm part of his audience. I'm a veteran. I'm a military spouse. I feel all these things. As he was talking about the transition and the behavioral finance and the financial stress, I was like, I can so relate to that. What I loved about chatting with Dedrick is the empathy comes through so powerfully, and it is equally matched with the professionalism and the skill. I think his closing comments there about, if you love helping people, this is the profession for you. It was such a clarion call of like, this is why we do what we do and it matters. And I just really enjoyed the chat with him today. How about you?
Yeah, I can't say enough good things about Dedrick. He's obviously an AFC. He's been engaged with our community for a really long time. But when he became the program manager for the Veterans Benefits Banking Program, just such an incredible fit. Like you said, he has this level of empathy that just emanates when you meet with him. But he's smart and strategic and thoughtful, and to see the work that our AFCs are doing through that program to really change lives for people. It was incredible to hear just about the different types of families that they're meeting with, and it runs the gamut. And I think it's just really representative of what an AFC does. It looks very different. Clients can be in crisis mode or living out of their car, all the way to they might have
Mm.
means, but they just need guidance, and financial professionals can meet you where you are at any stage in your life. And so, I really like talking about just the differences between the professionals and how he's been able to sort of advocate and educate the people that are calling in and meeting with financial professionals through his work. And I think it's a reminder that all of us can play that in our work. I think each and every day we're not only educating our clients, but we're educating our peers and our communities about the value of this work.
That's a great way to look at it. I was even thinking, when was the last time I educated a peer on either side, the value of, being in this space? I like how he said too, if you're looking at behavior and mindset, you're probably going to need a counselor and a coach. But if you need a complicated strategy, you're probably going to need an advisor planner. And so that was a really succinct way to kind of just look at the differences and how the two can collaborate, right? I love when he said, if you're worried about losing clients, don't worry, there are plenty to go around. And so maybe our audience is listening and you're thinking, I'm a financial planner. Maybe I need to talk about what it looks like to collaborate with an AFC, or maybe you're an AFC and you know financial planners. Maybe this is your invitation to have that conversation about how you guys can collaborate and be of better service to your clients. But whatever you do, we want to encourage you to hit that like or subscribe button to make sure that you stay up to date on all of the great content that we provide here for you and continue learning and advancing this financial profession.
The opinions of our podcast guests are their own, which means that their stories, views, or lived experiences may differ from yours or mine. We encourage you to tune in to Real Money, Real Experts with open curiosity. Why? Because it's oftentimes in the conversations where viewpoints or stories differ from our own that we learn the most.